Alright guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video for you. So today, I am in Umeda in Osaka, and we're going to visit a place that I have been quite often and I really enjoy. I've just never gotten around to actually filming the out and about video for this one. So the place we're going to visit is this one behind me, craft beer base Mothertree. Craft beer base, of course, has been one of the long-standing staples of the Osaka beer scene, and now they have this lovely venue behind us which acts as both a kind of restaurant, brewery, tap room. It's really great. So we'll do as we always do, we'll go in, we'll try some of the beers, we'll maybe try some of the food as well and see what they have on offer today. But yeah, this place is always good. So I've been looking forward to filming this one for a wee while. There will be maybe 2 special guests in this one, so yeah, just keep your eyes peeled for that. But let's get started, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. Craft beer based Mothertree in Umeda, Osaka. Let's do it. Alright guys, well, this is the outside of craft beer base Mothertree. Originally they had another little place that was kind of down that way. The original craft beer base was a few streets away, but that obviously closed down a couple of years ago now, and they've got this lovely new building that they've built. But the main part of Umeda is actually just over there, which is kind of cool. So you come across this square, and through that big building you can see just in front of you, and then you'll find yourself here at a little craft brewery in the centre of Osaka. Pretty cool actually. So yeah, there you can see craft beer base, office, brewery, bottle shop, pub and restaurant. It's open, which we always want, and then it welcomes you here. They've got an event day this weekend, their 3rd anniversary, but unfortunately it's my little man's Shichi Gohan, so won't be able to attend that one. I'll have to look after my little guy, of course, which is more important, but there we go. So yeah, when you come in, you're greeted by the brewery door and the beer cellar. So yeah, here you've got fridges with lots of goodies in them, and the fridge is here, and you come round the side and you have the bar. So the interesting thing here is that if you want to sit and drink, you buy the beer here. But if you want to get some of the cans, you have to buy them here. It's one of the Japanese laws that means they have to do it this way. But as you can see, there's a really good selection of stuff here. But yeah, the restaurant and things is absolutely lovely. You can see through to the brewery if you look through the windows here, and of course they've got the big Mothertree artwork at the back, and nice kitchen there, very modern bar. And of course today we have a little bit of a special guest on the channel. We have Mr. Jordan. Imagine seeing you here.
Yeah, I keep running into you.
I keep running into you in Osaka on work days. It's terrible, isn't it?
That's right, I had it, I won't say it.
Yeah, ready for some beer?
I am.
Let's do it. Alright guys, well, here is the tap list for you today at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. We're here on the 24th of October 2024, and yeah, they've got a good range of stuff. So yeah, a lot of their own beers, which is very nice to see. They've got the lavender and chamomile golden ale, the CPA, which is one of their kind of house beers, one of their core range if you like, the Wuxiang red ale, which is a red ale with different kind of Chinese chilies in it. That one's a bit of a staple too. The Piotr one, the Imperial Stout, that is a very, very good beer. I've had that before. But yeah, they've got some of the more experimental ones over here as well. A Koji beer at number 6, the Elixir IPA at number 7, Mixed Juicy 001, a hazy IPA at number 8. I think we'll need to try that. Then they've got a Styrian Dragon IPA at number 9. That's a really interesting Slovenian hop actually. Then they've got their German Pils up at number 11, a Hefeweizen at number 12, an Alt beer that's brewed with Nomcraft, a really great brewery down in Wakayama. We might need to try that one as well. Then they've got their American Strong Ale at number 14, and then a Japanese Mint Lager at number 15. So yeah, some really interesting stuff here, and basically every time I visited Craft Beer Base, the beers get stronger and stronger. They're getting better all the time. So yeah, you're always going to get some really interesting experimental stuff here, which is great. Right guys, time for our first tasting then here at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. So As I always like to do in these videos, I thought it'd be nice to start off with something light, and it just so happened that there was a Pilsner on the menu. So we're going to tap number 11. This one is simply just called German Pilsner, comes in at 5.6% ABV, and yeah, it should be really quite nice. So, as you can see, they gave me the lovely Czech style glass with this one, which is great. When it came out, it poured with about a 2/3 finger of a frothy, I would have said kind of creamy coloured head, but it looks great. Lovely pale golden straw colour to it, a little touch of natural haze, and a good wee bit of natural carbonation, which you can see there. I think it looks absolutely great, this one. Nothing unusual about the appearance of this beer. The one thing I would say about it is that at 5.6% ABV, it's actually a little bit heavy for a Pilsner. It's not often you come across them that far north of 5% ABV, unless you're talking about an Imperial Pilsner or something like that. So that's an interesting point. In terms of the Pilsner as a style, it originates from the Czech Republic, although it was developed at the time that land was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The city of Pilsen, where it's from, was lived in by both ethnic Germans and ethnic Czechs, but the style was developed by a Bavarian brewer who moved into the area. So mixed origins of the Pilsner there. These days, the Czech Pilsner is kind of more sort of yeasty and bready and sort of dry, whereas the German Pilsner is a little bit kind of sweeter and more kind of bitter and things like that too. So yeah, we'll just need to see where this one actually lies, if you like. So, quite curious about this one. So let's have a wee look at the aroma and just see what it's all about. Very, very curious about this beer. So, what I always look for in these beers is authenticity, and I'm going to say straight away, the aroma of this one is pretty damn authentic. You can smell the nice German malts in here. European malt is always that little bit drier, of course. So yeah, the European malt is quite obviously in this one. But it gives you everything you'd want from the style. You've got that lovely sort of noble hop character to it, a little bit of earthiness, a little bit of woodiness, of course. Nice grassy character, some bright floral aromaticity as well. The malty side of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust, a little bit of wood, a little bit of cracker, touch of brown bread, white bread. You can smell that yeasty character, kind of dry white bready crackery yeasty character at the back of the nose, and then yeah, you've got that little bit of like oily biscuit and McVitie's digestive biscuit in the middle of the nose there too. In terms of the fruity side of things with this beer, again, it's kind of what you'd expect. There's a good little bit of like oily pear, there's some apricot in there, sultana, little touch of like gooseberry and things as well, maybe a very, very slight hint of like a fresh green apple. So these are all things that you would expect of the Pilsner as a style. This one is probably using German noble hops because it's got that lovely little bit of earthy, woody sort of smoothness to it. So the aroma that comes out of this one is very authentic and really pretty damn nice. So yeah, the way that this one goes together in that regard is quite nice. I will say that the more you smell of it, the more kind of brown bready character you get out of this one, which is really interesting. So as I always say, take a little bit of time to just enjoy the aroma of your beer before you get stuck into it. But yeah, I think this one should be very, very nice. So let's have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. This one is simply called German Pilsner, coming in at 5.6% ABV, our first beer here at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. Let's do it. Slange, Skål, cheers, Kampai. And Jordan's just behind the camera there, so we'll cheers him. Let's do it. That's pretty damn good, I have to say. Now, it's interesting because, like I say, in these lager beers, I always look for authenticity. I want these to be close to what you'd actually find in Germany, the Czech Republic, Austria. And this one is pretty damn good. You'll always find with Japanese craft beer, it's just that little bit lighter and cleaner, and it's just part of the Japanese mentality. Beer is something that should be light and drinkable to them. So very often with Japanese craft beer, you'll get the right flavour profile, but it will just feel that little bit lighter and cleaner. It's also to do with the water quality in Japan. The Shinto religion means that they really, really respect nature So they're big on, you know, keeping the environment nice, basically. So yeah, you can really taste the quality of the water in this one, which is great when you consider this is a city centre brewery. Just think about it. But yeah, this beer really gives you everything you'd want from the style. It does have a little bit of a Helles type quality to it, like it's maybe not quite as dry and crisp and bitter as some Pilsners that you're going to come across. And that, I think, pushes it just a little bit toward the kind of Helles category. But still, I think it is really nice. I mean, you have to remember with lager beers as well, lager beers will undergo fermentation using bottom fermenting yeast at lower temperatures, so they have to actually be aged in further fermentation for quite a bit longer than ales. They're actually harder beers to make than a lot of ale styles. But I will say this is very, very nicely done. So thumbs up to Craft Beer Base for this one. Pardon me, let's just break down the flavour of this beer and describe it for you a wee bit more in depth, I would say. But yeah, this one is like, you know, 80-90% Pilsner, maybe about 20% Helles. The sweetness that you get out of this beer into the aftertaste and the breadiness is a little bit what makes me say it has a little bit of the kind of German Helles type quality to it. But yeah, let's go then, middle of your palate. Backbone of the beer, you've got that lovely, fresh, white bready bread crust coming out of this one. And that's lovely, so yeah, lovely, fresh, white bready bread crust in there. As you move further forward on that middle third of your palate, you've got a little bit more woodiness there. You've got some Jacob's cream cracker above that. Definitely a layer of like wholemeal brown bread, then a fluffier white bread above that. And then it's all the Pilsner malt that comes out. So further back on that middle third of your palate, you've got some lovely kind of dry Pilsner malty character in there. In the centre of your palate, it's got a little bit more of a kind of sweet caramelly note to it, and then a McVitie's digestive biscuity type quality as well. So yeah, in the dead centre you've got the boozy side of the beer, which is that more oily biscuit, then the more McVitie's digestive biscuity notes as you go further out, and as I say, that dry, crisp, bready character further back on the middle third of your palate. But yeah, back third of your palate, you've got very similar flavours, just coming out at different intensities. So yeah, you can feel that you've got the bread crust in the base, which is that little bit drier, the cracker, the brown bready layer, which is a little bit taller, lighter and more airy, the white bready layer above that, which again is a little bit taller, lighter and more airy, and then you have the kind of crisp Pilsner malt just going over the top of that. And then it's all about the yeasty character on the top of the back third of the palate. So the yeasty side of the beer for me is a little bit more kind of white bready leaning and sort of crackery, which is nice. So yeah, really like how that goes together. And I think after that, other than saying that the beer gets a little bit bread crusty into the aftertaste, I think we've covered everything we need to say about the malty and yeasty side of it. So let's go to the hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate, you've got that nice little bit of earthiness there. As you move further forward, it's a little touch woody, and as you push further forward along the sides of your palate, it's definitely more sort of floral and aromatic. And then round the front curve of the tongue, definitely lighter and more grassy. The fruity part of your beer comes out, of course, on the front third of your palate, and the fruitiness is kind of what you'd expect. Underneath, of course, you've got the bread crust, the brown bread, and the white bread. Then you've got that nice, oily, fruity bubble just sitting above it. So yeah, for me, the fruity side of things is kind of what I described in the aroma. It's it's got some nice kind of sultana-like flavours to it, some oily pear, a little bit of apricot in the centre of your palate, and then yeah, as you move further forward, it's got a wee bit more of a kind of dry apricot, and then yeah, a little touch of like fresh green apple as well. So the way that all of that pieces together in this beer, I think, is very, very nice. So yeah, the more that I drink of it, the more Pilsner-like it becomes. It's certainly got a little bit more wetness and cleanliness to it, but maybe not quite the same level of bitterness as some Pilsners that I've come across. across. But still, very, very impressed with this one, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. So big thumbs up to the guys at Craft Beer Base for this one. So yeah, this was the Pilsner, 5.6% ABV, a really nicely done beer. Let's go on to something else, and I'll catch you guys in just a second. Cheers. Alright guys, well, let's do our first fridge interlude. So over here by the door, this is mainly the Japanese stuff and their own things. So let's have a little look at those first. So if you come over here to the left side, you have a few kind of random things in here, a few German things. The wonderful Schlenkerla, Bauhaus Riegele, Schneiderweiss, then you have a bit of Bierzell, a few other Belgian things as well, Duchesse Cherry, Bar, Bear, Saison Dupont, Kripu, and things like this. But first off, they have a few big bottles from Himitsu in Ise, and these guys are very much one of the up-and-coming breweries at the moment in Japan. I would really recommend that you try those guys. But yeah, if you come over here, then we get into the Japanese stuff. So you've got Waimarket Brewing, who are one of the kind of more old school breweries in Japan these days, but still doing some really, really solid stuff. Then these guys here, Shinjuku Sunset Beer and Matsue Beer Hern, these guys were quite solid back in the day as well. I remember I've not had anything from these guys in a wee while, but yeah, Jofoku Olfactory Works sounds quite interesting. Down here, some Totopia from Nagoya. Then a little bit of Big Hand Bros, a new brewery in Kyoto, of course. Some of the cans from Himitsu, really good selection of Himitsu stuff actually. Then down here they've got a few things from I think this is Nude Beer, and then B&B Brewery collaboration, some stuff from the wonderful Kyoto Brewing, who have of course just undergone quite a big change with a new brewer coming in. Then they have some Shiga Kogen beer down here, Far East Brewing Company of course, a few other things down here as well, Nara Brewing Company, some Mino beer, very local of course, their Pilsner, some Hideji beer if I remember the name of the brewery correctly, some Kamikats who I haven't seen for a while, and a little bit of Baird Brewing too. Then if you come across to the last fridge, they have a bunch of their own beer. So yeah, they've got the Lavender and Chamomile. Then they have the Hefeweizen, the Mixed Juicy IPA. Then the Elixir, which was I think was the Styrian Wolf IPA if I'm not mistaken. Down here they've got the Koji beer, the Alt beer, then the CPA. Down here they've got the Wuxiang Red Ale, which is one of their kind of core beers, Piotr 1, which is their Imperial Stout, and then they have the Golden Ale here as well. So yeah, quite a nice selection of their own beers and other Japanese breweries. But yeah, very happy with that. So check it out if you come to Craft Beer Base. You'll see another fridge interlude in a wee while between one of the beers. Right guys, time for tasting number 2 then here at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. So there was a beer on the menu that I thought would be quite interesting because it's a style that you don't come across all that often outside of its local area, but it is a style that was really popular during the Japanese Jibiru brewery boom of the early 1990s. So yeah, this beer that we're going to have a look at for number 2 is simply called Alt Beer. It comes in at 4.2% ABV, and as the name suggests, this is a Dusseldorf style Alt Beer. But it's also brewed in collaboration with Nomcraft Brewery from Wakayama, which is quite close to Osaka. But those guys are really a very, very good brewery. So if you get the chance to try some of their beers, I would highly, highly recommend that you do. Some very good West Coast IPAs in my experience, but generally very solid all round from what I've heard. But yeah, I asked for a small size one and they poured it in this really kind of tall, almost like cocktail glass, which I was quite surprised about because yeah, you do use a tall kind of thin glass for an Alt beer in Germany, but yeah, I've never seen it quite in a cocktail glass like this. But when it came out with 2 fingers of a frothy, I would say kind of fawn coloured head. You can see it has this lovely sort of mahogany, sort of chestnutty colour. Remember, the colour of your beer depends on a few things. 1, the type of malts that you use. This goes a long way to determining your EBC rating. 2, length of your wort boil is going to play a role, because the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour of beer. Any barrel aging that you do or adjuncts you put into the beer will affect the colour of it as well. But when it comes to the alt beers, of course, the majority of the colour is down to the type of malts that you're using. So it has this lovely chestnutty mahogany colour, as I said. Not too much in the way of visible carbonation. 1 or 2 bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass and a few little ones going up toward the bottom of the head. But all in all, appearance-wise, this is kind of what you would expect from a Dusseldorf alt beer. Remember that the Dusseldorf alt beer is an ale, it's not a lager. Many people mix that up. So ales ferment using top fermenting yeast at higher temperatures, 15 to 16 degrees Celsius normally. So yeah, the Dusseldorf alt beer is an ale. I don't think we need to say anything more about the technical aspects of the beer, so let's have a little look at the aroma of this one then and see what it's all about. Ooh. That does smell pretty nice and also pretty authentic again. Like I said, when it comes to German beer styles, I want them to be authentic and to be like you would find in their local area in Germany. But yeah, this gives you kind of everything you would want. You've got that lovely bit of brown sugar, you've got the bread, the little bit of fruitiness, and that wee bit of hoppy character. You can't ask for much more from the alt beer. So the backbone of the beer is like a fresh kind of rye bready bread crust. There's a little bit of woodiness in there, there's a little bit of cracker, but yeah, sweet rye bread, a sweet kind of like wholemeal brown bread as well, some toasty brown sugary notes, yeah, toasty caramel in there, a more oily caramel and a sort of fudgy character as well. I'd maybe say there's a little touch of like leatheriness to the brown sugar in here, and usually that's an indicator of a slightly longer wort boil, but probably not in a style like the alt beer in barley wines and quadruples and Scotch ales, doppelbocks and stuff like that, the heavier beers. That would usually tell you that you've got a longer wort boil. There is a little touch of nuttiness to this one, but yeah, caramel, fudge, toastiness, some biscuit, it makes sense. At the back of the nose you do have a little bit of yeasty character coming out of this one, wee bit of like rye bread, wholemeal brown bread, bit of cracker and stuff. So yeah, everything you would expect of the Dusseldorf alt beer. It's quite well done, but I wouldn't expect anything less of non-craft or craft beer based these days. On the hoppy side of things, it's kind of what you'd expect. Your green component, little touch earthy, little bit woody, nice floral aromaticity, and also just that little bit of grassiness too. So yeah, interesting stuff. On the fruity side of things, again, it's what you'd expect. There's a little bit of kind of oily pear in there. There's a wee bit of sultana, blackcurrant, maybe a little bit of raisin as well. And it does lean more and more toward that kind of red fruity side of things the more that you look at the beer. So yeah, I think figs, blackcurrants, pear, sultanas, bit of raisin. I think that describes this one really quite nicely. So yeah, I don't think we need to say much more about the aroma of this beer. So let's go on and have a little look and see what flavour it gives us. So like I said, this is simply called alt beer. I think it was tap number 13, 4.2% ABV, a collaboration with non-craft brewery from Wakayama Prefecture. Let's have a taste of this and see what it's all about. Slangen, skål, cheers, kampai. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. It's a little bit drier, I think, than some of the alt beers I've come across previously. But you know, this is a thing I've actually found with more kind of brown German beers, if you like. The Dunkel sometimes surprises me as well. Sometimes the more brown sugary beers that you'll get from Germany are just that little bit drier, so could well just be this one's going down that route. So it has a little bit more yeastiness into the aftertaste as well, which is obviously going to give you more dryness as well. But the flavour profile of this one is really pretty spot on, and like I said earlier, I wouldn't expect anything less of craft beer base, or non-craft for that matter. So yeah, this goes together really nicely. So the backbone of the beer, lovely sort of like rye bready bread crust. There's a little bit of woodiness in there. There's some Jacob's cream cracker. There's a layer of rye bread, wholemeal brown bread, a little bit of a more kind of toasty brown sugary character. It has got a little bit of leatheriness to it as well. There is a little bit of dryness to that brown sugary note. Sweet caramel, a little bit of fudge, wee bit of McVitie's digestive biscuit, and then yeah, you've also got that little bit of nuttiness to this one too, which I think is really interesting. So yeah, quite a little bit of stuff going on in the middle of your palate with this beer. That's where the complexity lies in this one for sure. If you go to the back third of your palate, you've got quite similar flavours, just the yeasty character on top. So yeah, back third of your palate, you've got that rye bready bread crust in the base. You have the cracker sitting above that, rye bready layer, wholemeal brown bready layer. Then yeah, you can feel some of the more leathery and toasty aspects of the brown sugar just creeping over that. Then it's all about the yeast. The yeasty side of this beer for me is a little bit more kind of rye bready and dry at its core. It's got a little bit more of a kind of sweet wholemeal brown bread around the edge, and then yeah, just a little bit of that bread crusty character around the very edge of your around the very edge of it too. So yeah, the way that that goes together in this one is really quite nice. Very solid alt beer in terms of its malty and yeasty characteristics. So the authenticity side of this one, pretty damn good. Hoppy side of things. Back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's a little bit woody. And then as you go further forward along the sides of your palate, it's a little bit more kind of floral and aromatic, I would say. Round the front curve of your tongue, a little bit lighter and grassy. These are the characteristics you expect of your Hallertau and Tettnang hops, your German noble hops. Let's look at the fruity side of things then in this one, just to round off. So for me, fruity side of this beer, it's quite it's really quite nice actually. The back half of that front third of your palate, that nice oily bubble where the fruity esters come out, it's got a really nice little bit of like sultana, I would say, you know, dry white green grapes. So a lovely little bit of sultana in there. Some oily pear, like I said, little bit of fig, wee bit of like black currant, I would say too. So yeah, these nice kind of soft, slightly red leaning fruits, I think. Fig and black currant into the aftertaste, but yeah, wee bit of oily pear and sultana just before that. But all in all, a really nice alt beer this one. In terms of its mouthfeel, I would say yeah, mid-bodied, good little bit of crisp carbonation to it. Again, it feels quite nice and clean. The IBU is probably about 15 or 20, which is what you'd expect of the style. Malt base, drier underneath, smooth in the middle and sweet on top. And then yeah, you've got that nice little bit of fruity character to this one too. So all in all, really nice take on the alt beer. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink that again, and it's pretty authentic too. So I've been impressed with the two German beers that I've had so far. Let's go on and do something else for the next one. I'll catch you guys in a second. This was the 4.2% alt beer, a collaboration between craft beer based Mothertree and non-craft from Wakayama. Kampai. Alright guys, well the fridge over here on this side is the kind of foreign fridge, if you like. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. Let's just go over and work our way from left to right. So over here you've got some classics, a little bit of Stone Brewing, a little bit of Sierra Nevada, then El Segundo and Shred, who are two breweries that I really need to try. Some Firestone Walker and Honolulu Beer Works. I've heard good things about them. Some Modern Times and some Founders. Lagunitas, of course, Harland, who I haven't tried yet, then Pizza Port Brewing, Smog City, who I've seen quite a lot but never actually tried, Society as well, Revision Brewing, who I've had a couple of times and they've always been pretty good. And then down here they actually have some Trillium, which is quite interesting. Then Topa Topa, more Smog City, Faction, and East Brother as well, which is quite interesting. If we move over to the next fridge, at the top you've got some Great Notion, Left Hand Brewing as well, Ogopogo, who I've never tried before actually, so might need to have a little look at that. But then, Bierstadt, who seem to do some really old school German lagers. I'd be very curious to try them. Balebreaker, who I've never heard of. Threes Brewing, who I'm pretty sure I've heard of them. Then you've got some Finback over there. I still need to try some of their own beers actually. Stillwater, I've not seen their own beers in quite a wee while, come to think of it. Georgetown, Fort George, Fremont Brewing once again, or Fremont, I'm not sure how to pronounce that actually. Then you've got Drake's Brewing Company down here, I've had one or two things from them. Stoop, who are trying to get their beers out here in Asia at the moment, so need to try a few of those. Veldworks as well. Then you've got some Pure Project down there. Noble, Single Hill, who are meant to be quite interesting. Industrial, what are they called again? Industrial Brewing Company, I think. Then here you've got some more Fieldwork, Heretic Brewing. I've not actually seen any of their own beers in quite a long time, come to think of it either. But then we come over here to the Canadian fridge. So a bunch of things from the wonderful Collective Arts Brewing Company. If you come over here, there's quite a lot of stuff from Burdock, who I need to try a little bit more from. Then if you come down, you have some Bellwoods, bunch of stuff from Dieu de Seal as well. This is the first time I'm actually seeing their beers in cans. Over here we've got some Aussie things, Sailor's Grave, which is quite an interesting brewery I've heard. It's another one that I need to try. A little bit of Don Zoko from Edinburgh these days as well. Whiplash from Ireland. Interesting to see them making their way out to Japan. But then we've got Lost and Grounded, Stu Mostov, Living House, Gigantic Brewing, all really interesting stuff. Then we've got some black hops from, that's Australia, not New Zealand. One Drop Brewing, some Kaiju beer in there as well. I'm not sure what the BH one is, I guess that must still be black hops. But then if you come down here, you've got a bunch of things from Mountain Culture, one of the really up and coming Aussie breweries at the moment. A little bit of Tired Hands there for some reason as well, mixed in with the Aussie stuff. But then if you come down here, you've got some Eclipse Brewing from 50/50, a little bit of Breakeriet from Sweden, Birra del Eremo from Italy, which is quite interesting. And then you've got a few other things here from Fonta Flora, who are a very good brewery, and Highwire as well. So really, really interesting mix of things going on in the fridge here. So that is your second beer fridge interlude, and you'll see another little special one a wee bit later on. So let's leave it at that for just now. Right guys, time for tasting number 3 then here at craft beer based Mothertree. So there was a beer on the list that really caught my eye because it has a hop in it that is quite hard to find even in Europe where it originates, and to find this in Japan is just really unusual. So we just have to review this one and see what it's all about. And I don't think, Jordan, have you ever had this hop?
Never.
Never.
I've heard of it today.
Yeah. So this beer that we're having a look at is number 9. So it's called Styrian Dragon. It comes in at 7% ABV and it is an IPA. So Styrian Dragon is a Slovenian hop. For those of you who don't know, Slovenia is a very big hop producer. The country is also very famous for its wines, but tiny little country, beautiful though, lovely people. Been there. The single largest hop farm in Europe, if not the world, I believe, is actually located there in the Styrian Valley. It's owned by the Roynick family. They have their own brewery called Green Gold Brewery. So check those guys out if you ever come across their beer. Styrian Dragon itself is 5.6% alpha acid. It gives you kind of berries, a bit of passion fruit, and it's quite spicy as well, actually. So yeah, it's just really cool to find a Japanese brewed IPA with this really quite rare Slovenian hop. But this is 7% ABV. As you can see, the heads have disappeared on this one, but it came out with a lovely finger of a frothy, I would have said cream coloured head. You can see it's got this lovely rich, I'd say golden straw type colour, yeah? And you can see it's pretty clear. So this is going to be more of a West Coast IPA rather than anything else. Not too much carbonation visible in this one, but let's just have a little look at the aroma then and see how it goes. So what do you get?
All right.
Yeah.
Right away, passion fruit.
Yeah. Melon, strawberry, I think as well. Yeah, a little bit of melon in the background.
Sure,
But
sure.
strawberry, kind of candied strawberry, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Candied strawberry. I'm getting kind of a white grape.
Oh yeah, white grapes or gooseberry, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I was thinking. It's kind of melon.
That's what you're getting, melon. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Passion fruit, like lemon candy, lemon drop. You said.
Yeah.
But lemon drop is actually a hop, isn't it?
Lemon, yeah, it's a German hop
Okay,
actually.
there's no lemon drop in this, but it has that sort of lemony sweet flavor.
Yeah.
As you said, I'm getting kind of like strawberry jam or something like that, like raspberry jam or some kind of very fruity.
Yeah. I mean, the malty side of things for me, this one, quite ready bread crust, slightly woody, slightly crackery. There's a little bit of brown bread in there, a little touch of white bread. I get quite a bit of sweetness out of this, like
Definitely, yeah.
biscuit, brown sugar. Like it's definitely got a sweet caramelly note to it.
I'm always impressed you can pick up that bready or the malty notes over the really strong aromatic, the fruity and that fruity notes from the hops.
I guess it's just you kind of come to get used to it, in honesty.
Yeah.
4,000 odd beer reviews in it, just pick it up, I guess. Yeah.
I'm just right now being just really, my experience is being dominated by that fruity side of the hops.
See, I find when your nose adjusts, you get more of the breadiness. You get the sweetness, the fruits at the start, the brown sugars just after that. Then, once your nose adjusts to all of that, it's the breadiness that comes out, I think. So yeah, for me, it smells like it's American two-row malts in this actually, because they're quite smooth, but they're quite oily at the same time. But yeah, brown bread, white bread.
I know it's not in the ingredients, but I'm getting a little bit of a rye malt kind of accent.
I think in this one, I think that's maybe from the yeast. The yeast has a little bit of like a brown bready character.
That may be it.
Like at the back of those. I think if it was rye, it would be a little bit more. It'd be really grainy. Like really grainy. I think there could be a bit of wheat in this because you can smell that dense white bread.
Sure.
And it's quite smooth as well. I think it's American malt in this one, to be honest with you, because it's just not dry enough for European malt. On the hoppy side of things, with IPAs you have to remember there are three types of hoppings you can do. Early addition hopping, which takes place in the first hour of the wort boil, that gives you mostly your bitterness and a deep dank aroma. Late addition hopping, which takes place in the last half hour of the wort boil, little bit of bitterness, mainly flavour and aroma. It's going to give you a very bright green component. Dry hopping, which takes place after the wort boil is complete, that's going to give you a very bright green component again, but it's all about flavour and aroma. West Coast IPAs use all three, which is why they're deeper, danker, and more bitter in terms of the green component. New England hazy IPAs, they tend to rely on late addition of dry hopping, which is why they're softer and more juicy. From the aroma of this one, I would say it's late addition and dry hopping. There might be a little bit of early addition hopping there, because on the top of the nose you do get that very, very slight, almost minty.
Minty.
Yeah, you get that very slight, like minty, floral aromatic spice.
Okay, I can get that.
And I think that's the Slovenian hops do have that slightly stronger spiciness to them.
Kind of.
Yeah, it kind of goes to the top of the nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very slightly earthy. You do get that slightly noble, earthy and woody character. Very bright floral aromatic notes that give you that wee minty character in the top of your nose, and some nice kind of grassy notes as well, I would say.
Definitely some dry hopping going on.
Oh yeah,
Very
yeah.
rich, sweet smell.
But really soft and really juicy, this one for sure. And I think, yeah, strawberry. I still get the strawberry, the berry out of this one. Melon, passion fruit, like you said, gooseberry, white grape, something like that. Beautiful smelling beer, I have to say. I think it's going to be more of a West Coast IPA. So let's have a taste of this one then and see how we go. Kampai, thank you for joining again.
Hey,
Yeah.
anytime.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting for me. I think you have to term this one like American IPA because it's not bitter enough to be the West Coast, and it's not hazy enough to be the New England. So I think you have to just call this one a generic American IPA, unless it's one of these modern takes on the West Coast IPA that doesn't have the same level of bitterness. Have you come across those? The low IBU West Coast IPAs. Cali IPAs, they sometimes call them.
Okay. This has, I'm getting some quality, like it's much, the flavor drops off much quicker than I would expect. Like it's much cleaner than I expect from the aroma. Like, I don't know, I'm not so familiar with the style, that cold IPA style.
Oh, the cold? Yeah, okay.
It has a little bit about that. I've only had a few of them, but it's a bit like what I experienced with cold IPA, whereas there's quite a bit of aroma, but as you drink it, the flavor is really kind of crisp and kind of drops off.
Oh yeah, no, I can see that with this one. Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit more oily and heavy in its mouthfeel compared to the cold IPA, but I see exactly why you say that. Yeah. So for me, yeah, very slick, very light.
Very light.
One, yeah. I'd say the malty backbone of this one, quite ready bread crust. There's a layer of cracker, a bit of brown bread, especially into the aftertaste.
Okay, yeah.
Smooth white bread. Maybe there's a little bit of a wheaty character with this one as well. I do suspect there's a little bit of wheat in this. Then the sweeter side of the beer comes out above that. Wee bit of biscuit, a little bit of caramel, McVitie's digestive biscuit, something like that. But this is, what was it, 7%? Yeah, 7%. So you do expect a little bit of that. It does have a wee bit of that West Coast IPA malt base to it, which is great. I like that. So yeah, bit of woodiness into the aftertaste, but more grainy. Yeah. The back third of your palate, again, you've got these bready layers: the bread crust, the cracker, the brown bread, the white bread. A little bit of almost wheaty bitiness, I would say. Then the yeast. The yeast for me is a little bit brown bready, crackery. The back of the palate.
Something in the aftertaste. I can almost identify it, but kind of an unexpected flavor in the aftertaste. Is that maybe quality from the Styrian hop?
I think you get the spiciness and the woodiness.
Maybe it's
from
something
that.
woody.
Yeah, spiciness and woodiness actually. Yeah, I should show you this glass, by the way. There's the little craft beer base symbol on this one. It's quite nice.
On the other side.
Yeah, and I love craft beer because who doesn't?
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you mean about that flavour though. A little bit woody, a little bit floral and spicy in terms, but really nice actually.
Like it's like in the fall, when you crush up dry leaves in fall, there's a slightly sweet, kind of slightly decaying but pleasant sweet smell.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting that from it a bit.
Well, I think you're looking at the green component then.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, for me, like green component, back corners of your palate, bit earthy, bit woody. As you come further forward, it gives you I don't know if pine resin's the right word. I think it's more floral and spicy. Then round the front curve of your tongue, it's more grassy, and you get that. I think that's the leafy character you're talking about.
Leafy, okay.
That grassy, leafy sort of thing round the front curve of your tongue. Yeah. Let's look at front third of the palate and fruity side of things then. So what do you think about the fruits and the flavour?
They're so much more subdued than the aroma, but they're definitely there. What are you getting?
I'm getting a bit more of the citrus. The more that I drink of it, at the beginning I think it was like gooseberry, strawberry. But more into the aftertaste. I do get the passion fruit, but I get like I don't know, not lemony. I think more of a melony citrus out of this one. At the back of that front 3D palette, yeah, melon, stronger citrusy character, soft apricot and pineapple, and soft like passion fruit and apricot as you move further forward. Then yeah, you've got that more lemony, zesty.
Japanese, the Natsu Mikan, the summer oranges.
Oh, the Mikans. Yeah. Oh, I can
summer
see that.
Mikan, they have a little more the bitter kind of quality to them. So I think the bitterness
A bitter citrus, yeah.
combined with the citrus, it's reminding me of Natsu Mikan.
Okay. Yeah, no. Autumn Mikans, yeah. Or Natsu is...
Natsu is summer.
Summer, yeah.
Natsu Mikan, like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not the winter type. The standard Mikan is winter, but...
Makes sense. So yeah, no, Mikans, don't know how many non-Japanese will
Yeah,
Mikans
sorry.
that well, but yeah. But yeah, no, that more bitter citrus I think is a good way to describe it too.
We have something like 20 varieties of citrus fruits in the area I live in, not properly. So
Oh yeah, there's quite a lot of breweries here who use local fruits you've never heard of, so it's interesting when you try these. But yeah,
I don't think this does have any addition
Yeah.
like that, but just that
Yeah.
flavor.
I think gooseberry, strawberry, passion fruit, melon. I think that makes sense with this one, eh?
Not getting much else.
Yeah. Mouthfeel wise then, I'd say mid-bodied, maybe pushing top end of mid-bodied. Carbonation's quite smooth, a bit oily and slick. The IBU is 40 maybe, doesn't feel too bitter. 40 IBUs maybe. The malt base, drier underneath, smooth in the middle, a bit oily and slick on top, and then yeah, you've got that nice oily, slick, fruity character out of this one as well. But all in all, a really nice beer. This, and pretty cool to be able to try a Styrian Dragon. I was going to say Styrian Wolf. Really cool, different variety of hop. Yeah, really nice to try a Styrian Dragon IPA in Osaka of all places. So that's really cool, especially in one of my places that I come quite regularly to. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one, eh? So thank you to Jordan for joining. I think maybe we'll try and peer pressure him to join for one of the other tastings in a little bit. So
Maybe.
we'll catch you guys in a little second. Yeah, cheers. Alright guys, so let's have a little look at the food menu then here at craft beer based Mothertree in Osaka. So it turns out that I told you a little bit of a lie earlier in the video when I said that this brewery is from Umeda. It's actually in Oyodo, which is just west of Umeda. So yeah, apologies for telling you guys lies earlier, but it's kind of cool. You can order your beers and things using the QR code, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we're here in October, so it seems they have a Deutsch menu. So yeah, you can get your schnitzel, your German style hamburger with Zwiebel, or onion as it would be in English. You can get your currywurst, and you can also get your obatsuda, which is like a kind of bread that you dip in a cheese sauce, and the bread is made using Hefeweizen yeast, so that's quite interesting. Up here they have their duck loin steak, lamb shoulder roast, oven baked scallop oyster with herb butter. All of those sound quite interesting, although I'm not the greatest fan of fish. The duck would probably be the most interesting one for me. They've got a few different pizzas, teriyaki chicken, pepperoni and seafood. You can get your fries and stuff down here, fried chicken with Japanese herb sauce, buffalo chicken sauce, fish and chips, fried herb fish, fried taro, which is like a kind of mountain potato type thing, and fried potatoes with 3 kinds of sauce. So yeah, quite an interesting mix of foods here. You can get your usual kind of sausage platters and things, your coarse ground, your chorizo, Thai green, sweet fruit sausages. You can do different hot dogs, spicy chili hot dog, guacamole hot dog, salsa. You have different salads and things down here. Remember, 1,000 yen these days is about €6, £5.50 sterling, something like that, maybe $6 American. The yen is very weak just now, so Japan is pretty cheap at the time of filming, I have to say. Different nuts, you've got your desserts in there, soft drinks, and of course it encourages you to have a little look at their fridges and stuff. But yeah, over here there's a few different things. talking about the beer and what the mission of the company is and stuff like that. And they've also very recently opened a new venue called Craft Beer Base Leaf. So I guess I'll need to go and check that out at some point. But yeah, it shows you a little bit about the brewery on the back page as well. So yeah, that's it. A little look at the menu for you here at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. So there you go, that's that. Right guys, well, time for tasting number 4 then here at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. So for this one, we are going to have a very popular style of beer at the moment. We're going to have a look at a New England Hazy IPA. This one is called Mixed Juicy 001. So yeah, as you can see, it pours this lovely kind of bright yellow mango juice colour. It had about a half finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head when it poured. You can see good little bit of opacity to this one. It looks great. Remember, in a New England IPA, the level of haze in these beers depends on the oak content, wheat content, and to a degree what yeast you use. That can vary from beer to beer and so on. But for a 6.4%er, this one looks pretty nice actually. Good level of haze in it, in all honesty. So yeah, I don't think we need to say too much more about the appearance of this beer. A little bit of carbonation visible there, and then the head is just faded away to be a really nice thin foamy layer. But all in all, it looks very, very nice and pretty much in keeping with what you would expect of the hazy IPA style category. So let's have a wee look at the nose and see what it's all about. Yeah, aroma-wise, it's pretty nice. I would say this is more of an oaty leaning New England IPA. Good little bit of barley malt as well, but as I say, there's 6 elements I would always think about when it comes to the malty and yeasty side of New England IPAs. You've got your farmhousey yeasty character, your rye leaning grainy side of things. Those are a bit more common in New England brewed New England IPAs, but as the style has spread and developed in other places, it focuses more on the wheaty bitiness, the oaty creaminess, the barley malt bread, and also the sweeter side of things. So for me, this beer, quite a bit of barley malt and quite a little bit of like oaty character to it, but it's obviously very, very fresh because it's at source here at the brewery. So for me, the quite an oaty and barley malt leaning New England Hazy IPA. There's a little bit of wheat at the back of the nose, but yeah, it smells really, really nice. This one, very soft and very juicy as you'd expect. So the backbone of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust, a little bit of wood, a little bit of cracker. There's a tiny little bit of brown bread in this one, but mostly it's a white bready character that's coming out of this one, and a very soft white bready character at that, I would say. Yeah, so lovely soft white bready character in there. You've got a more dense, wheaty white bready note coming out of it. Yeah, more dense, wheaty white bready note. And then yeah, you can smell some of the kind of creamy oats coming out of the beer. And of course, oats are usually a decent indicator of how fresh your New England IPA is. Essentially, the creamier they are, the fresher the beer is, the drier they are, the older the beer is. There's a little touch of like Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotch, and a wee bit of biscuit in this one. But yeah, these are all things that you would expect of the New England Hazy IPA as a style. Yeah, the way that goes together is really, really nice. But yeah, more of an oaty, bready New England IPA, this one, rather than anything else. The yeasty side of things at the back of the nose, there's a good little bit of it's mainly like a kind of white bready note, some Jacob's cream cracker, some kind of bready sort of qualities to it as well. But yeah, the way that all goes together, I think, is really nice. Yeah, kind of white bready, sort of crackery stuff like that. Yeah, I do really like how all of that pieces together in in this beer, like quite a white bready yeasty note, a little bit of cracker and things at the back of the nose. On the hoppy side of things, you've got a little touch of earthiness, nice little bit of woodiness in there as well. There's some big floral aromaticity, lots of grassiness as well. And the fruity side of things with this beer is quite interesting for me. A lot of like soft tropical fruit, you know, passion fruit, mango, apricot, pineapple, stuff like that. There's a little bit of peach in there as well, and a wee touch of a kind of lemony, limey character to the beer too. So that's really interesting for me. Yeah, the way that goes together, I think, is really, really nice. Is there any more to say about the aroma of this one? Not 100% sure, to be honest with you, but say really nice New England IPA, this one. So take a bit of time just to enjoy the aroma before you get stuck into it. But I think it's about time that we have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. So yeah, this one is the Hazy Juicy 001, a New England IPA at 6.4% ABV, our fourth beer here at the craft beer based Mothertree. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål, cheers, kampai. Yeah, that's pretty damn nice actually. It has a little bit more of a kind of citrusy impact to it, which I think is great. But yeah, again, that's really, really nicely done. For me, very bready and also very oaty, creamy New England IPA. Green component's quite nice, but all in all, the way that this one goes together is it's really good. So yeah, backbone of the beer, lovely kind of fresh white bready bread crust in there, a little bit of woody character, a little bit of cracker. You do have a slight touch of wholemeal brown bread in there, but yeah, mainly fluffy white bread. You can feel that more dense, wheaty white bready character on top of that. Further back on that middle third of your palate, you're getting a little bit of wheaty bitiness in there, but yeah, nice creamy oaty character. As you go down the middle line of your tongue, you've got that more creamy side of it, and as you go out toward the edges of your palate, it's a little bit more it's a little bit more of a kind of slightly drier oaty character that you get, of course. So yeah, in the dead centre of your palate, there's a little tiny circle there where you get that Werther's original butter candy, butterscotchy type character from the beer, and again, that is very, very nice in this one. So yeah, all in all, really quite nice. But yeah, I think that covers the malty side of the beer quite well. Let's look at the yeasty side of things then. For me, the yeasty side of the beer, at the back corners of at the back of the palate, on top of all those bready layers, you have a little bit of a more dry white bready character at the core. Then it's a little bit more sweet and white bready around the edge. Then yeah, you've got that fresh white bready bread crust coming out of it, which I think is again very, very nice. So that gets a big thumbs up from me. So yeah, I think we said everything we need to about the malty and yeasty side of this beer. I would say into the aftertaste, it gets that little touch more kind of creamy and oaty, but all in all, very, very nice. On the hoppy side of things, you've got a really nice little bit of earthiness there as you move further forward. It's got a little touch of woodiness to it, but then yeah, as you push further forward from that, some nice floral aromatic qualities, and then round the front curve of the tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say. But this is by no means a big bitter beer. Let's look at the front third of your palate then, at the fruity side of things. So obviously you've got that bready layer underneath, the bread crust, the cracker, the brown bread, the white bread, and then you've got that little bit of you've got that little touch of like oaty smoothness there, and then you've got that lovely oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters just roll their way out of the beer. So let's have a little look at that. So yeah, for me, the fruity side of things, at the back of that front third of your palate, in that oily bubble, you get a little touch of peach, that sharper peach. As you move further forward from that, there's a little bit of, you move further forward from that, you get the big juicy mango, passion fruit underneath. Then as you go to the middle of that front third of your palate, you've got the apricot in there, the pineapple sitting on top of it. Then yeah, as you go into the front half, the front third of your tongue, it's more about, it's got a little bit more of a kind of lemony limey note to it, in all honesty. A little bit zesty as well, in fact. So yeah, the fruity side of this one is really nice done. I think Citra and maybe a little bit of Simcoe in this one. This one feels quite familiar, so I think it's something classic that's going on in here. But again, it's a really, really nicely done beer, and the fruity side is great, so it gets a big thumbs up from me. On the flavour side of things, I think we've said everything we really need to be quite honest with you. So let's round off with a wee quick look at the mouthfeel. For me, mouthfeel wise, this beer, it's quite, yeah, I would say that it's quite mid-bodied, pushing toward the top end of mid-bodied. The carbonation is very, very smooth. It's got a lovely little bit of like oily character to it, which I think is great. And but yeah, it has got quite a little bit of creaminess to it. Your IBU is probably about 30, which is standard for the New England IPA style. The malt base, a little bit drier underneath, smoother in the middle, and kind of more creamy on top. Then yeah, you've got that lovely juicy fruitiness coming out of this one. But all in all, really, really lovely New England hazy IPA, this one. I think this is the first hazy I've had from Craft Beer Base, actually. They've done a damn good job, and basically they should take this recipe and play around with it a little bit and see what they can do, because this is a very solid base. It's the first one in this series, actually. So this was the Mixed Juicy 001. I would just say to them, keep playing with that, and it's going to get better and better as time goes on. But if you come across this or anyone in the series, have a go. Like I say, this brewery's beers seem to get better every time I come here. But let's leave it at that for this one. I think we've got 2 more beers to review, and then that'll be that for this video. But I'll catch you guys in just a second with something else. Cheers. Alright guys, so we were getting very hungry, and so we ordered a schnitzel and also a pepperoni pizza. So let's have a little look at these and see how they are. Catch you guys in a second. Right guys, our food just arrived. Jordan has to get running very soon, so let's do this quickly. So we have our pepperoni pizza. Let's take a slice of that quickly and have a taste then. And we have schnitzel that we'll try in just a wee second. So look at this. I think there's quite a few different cheeses on that. I think that's going to be good.
Yeah.
Pizza cheers.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh, it's very hot, but yeah, it is pretty damn hot. But it's quite doughy, quite fluffy pizza almost, actually. Tomato sauce has got a little bit more spiciness to it.
It is spicy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's red peppers in the tomato sauce. Yeah. I can taste the red pepper in this. But yeah, the doughy bread is nice. Pepperoni, it's a little bit hard to detect the exact flavour, but because of the spice. But it's still pretty nice. Anything to say about pizza?
It's good.
Good. Alright, so let's have a go at the schnitzel then while we still have time. So we're going to eat schnitzel with chopsticks, because that's what you do in Japan, but you're probably going to horrify the Germans with this. So there we go. Bit of schnitzel on its own, look at that. Lovely Wiener Schnitzel quality in there, the veal. Looks really good actually. So let's taste it raw on its own first. Oh. So, I lived in Germany. That's really good quality. Probably, maybe even better quality than you get in quite a lot of German places. Tokadori, take it in, make it better. That's how it goes in Japan.
It's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a sauce here as well, which looks like it's a kind of mushroom sauce. We try it with this and see what we have. We've got this nice, oh shit, dropping it. We've got this nice kind of mushroomy sauce. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, mushroomy sauce, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Thinking they just use canned mushroom soup and use that as sauce.
I wouldn't be, it could work. Yeah, it's a nice mushroomy sauce. It does go together quite well.
The combination's good, yeah.
It's obviously a take on the Jaeger Schnitzel, which is the mushroom sauce variety of Schnitzel in German.
That's a thing. I didn't know that.
I mean, we've obviously done a very quick summary of this, but the Schnitzel's good, the pizza's good. You are going to get good food here at Craft Beer Base. We're a couple of beers in. We can't, at least I can't, hold my chopsticks that well after this. Dropping Schnitzel all over the place. But yeah, we had a good time and we've enjoyed the food. Anything to say about the food?
It's good. Can't complain.
It's good, can't complain.
Good stuff, yeah.
Right, so I'm going to do one more review video on my own.
And I'm going to run to catch a train, so it was fun.
Sad time, yeah. So we'll finish off the video in a wee sec. Thank you to Jordan for joining as always. And I'll catch you guys in a wee second with something else. Cheers. Alright guys, well, time for our fifth and penultimate beer tasting then here at Craft Beer Base Mothertree. So for this one, we're going to have a look at a style that you don't come across all that often these days, and to find this in Japan is really quite unusual. So I'm very curious to see what this beer is going to have in store for us. So this particular beer, to give it its full name, Joshua Norton 90-minute Bastard 2024. So obviously they do this beer maybe as a seasonal every year.
I wonder what the story is behind that name.
I'm guessing, I see cans of it just over there. I think it is Stone Brewing's, some kind of reference to Stone Brewing's Arrogant Bastard Ale. Because that's kind of the pinnacle of this American strong ale style.
I see.
But this one comes in at 10.4% ABV. Generally speaking, the strong ale is not the most well-defined beer stylistically. It can be a few different things. But for me, if it's an American strong ale, it's usually quite malty, quite caramelly. But it has quite a lot of these kind of big pine resiny and bitter hoppy characteristics.
Okay.
For me, that's one of the kind of characteristics of it. I've had these maybe 10 times over the 10 years.
I haven't really had many strong ales, if any. I'm sure I have at some point, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, as I say, to find this brewed by a Japanese brewery is really quite unusual. So that was one of the reasons why I was really keen to try this one. But yeah, you can see this beer, to the naked eye, it's actually a lot more ruby than it's appearing to you. It's appearing like a kind of blood orange colour to you guys on the camera there, but to the naked eye, certainly a lot more like ruby and dark kind of mahogany type colour. When it poured, it had about just under a finger of a frothy, I would say, kind of fawn coloured head. A little bit of a natural haze to it, some nice carbonation sticking to the side of the glass. But yeah, I've seen a strong ale looking like this before, having this really deep, rich amber colour for a beer that's quite malty leaning but also quite hoppy leaning is kind of to be expected, to be honest with you. I don't think we need to say anything more about the appearance of this one. Will we have a look at the aroma?
That's it.
Let's do it, yeah. So, aroma-wise, for me, it's like very soft kind of candied fruits, which...
I'm getting candied fruits too.
Yeah, very soft sort of candied fruits. Really not a very aggressive aroma at all, which I'm quite surprised at, in honesty.
I mean, there's a little bit of that noble hop kind of ish like aroma. Like what do we have? Kind of woody, slightly woody, grassy aroma. What do you get?
Yeah, see, I would. My nose is telling me
Candy fruit,
Cascade.
Okay.
Chinook, you know, the
Oh, okay.
classic
Well, that's
American
American.
hops.
American. Yeah, I'm not.
It's, my nose is telling me classic American hops in this one.
I'm not sure.
But certainly, I mean, yeah, soft kind of candied fruits, Cascade, Chinook come to mind immediately with this one. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I think if you delve a little bit deeper into the aroma of this one, there's a wee bit of like a brown bready bread crust. You've got the wood, you've got the cracker. I don't know if I'd go as far as rye bread. I think it's American two-row malts that are in here. You've got that big, sweet, oily, wholemeal brown bready character coming out of this one, which is absolutely lovely.
Yeah, I agree. It's brown bready, but yeah, I agree. It's not. But there is a little bit of that sharp, spicy aroma in there too. A little bit, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, there's the wholemeal brown bread. You do get a little bit of white bread out of this one, I would say as well. On top of that, some toasty caramel.
Yep.
Yeah, there's toasty caramel in there. There's an oily sweet caramel as well. Fudge, I do get a little bit of fudge out of this.
Sure, now that you say it, fudge for sure.
Yeah, and a bit of McVitie's digestive biscuit. The yeasty side of things is a bit hard to detect with this one. I'm not sure. Brown bready, but I think the hoppy presence and the sweetness of this beer kind of drown out the yeasty side of it a little bit. Yeah, quite quirky in that regard, I would say.
As you said, it's kind of soft.
Yeah, it's not really an aggressive aroma from this beer.
I think the different elements are really blending together into something kind of warm and comforting. I'm not getting like individual standout notes for me. It's more of a combined kind of rich warmth.
I think on the hoppy side of things, there's a little touch of earthiness there, not too much. There's a bit of deeper pine resin, but it leans more toward a floral thing, and it's quite wet as well. The green component's quite wet. The grassiness is there. The fruity side of the beer, as we said earlier, it's quite red fruity. You can pick up a little hint of grapefruit behind that. There's that sort of sultana-y, peary sort of thing that's what really makes me think Cascade.
Oh, yeah. That's Cascade. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
That kind of, I just spoke a wee bit myself. I'm wasting good beer. Not good. So yeah, sultana, pear, fig for sure.
Okay, fig, sure.
Grapefruit, blackcurrant.
Okay, blackcurrant, yeah.
Any other fruits you reckon?
Prune?
Oh yeah, dried plum, yeah.
Dried plum?
Dried plum, yeah. Prune, dried plum. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, anything else you want to say about the aroma?
I'm good.
Alright, let's taste this one then. So, Joshua Norton 90-minute Bastard 2024 edition, a 10.4% American strong ale. Very rarely going to find this in Japan. Let's try it. Slange, skull, cheers, kampai. Here we go. It's not, again, this is interesting because it's quite floral and bitter, and the sweetness takes a bit of time to come out of this. Yeah. I'm curious about how fresh this is, because as it stands, I would guess that because you can sort of taste the sort of floral powderiness from the hops, maybe this is very, very fresh. And this could be one of the beers that maybe you should buy a bottle of and keep it for like 6 months or something. Yeah. It's nice as it is, but that's the first thing that comes to mind with this. If you drink a quadruple or a barley wine when it's too young, you can feel that a little bit with it.
That's actually what I thought. It tasted a little bit like, I do like it as my first impression, but I have tasted a young barley wine before. And that's I thought my impression was kind of a light barley wine. Was my first impression. I did not expect at all.
Yeah. But I think it has quite a bit of a breadiness and a piney resin into the aftertaste. Definitely some graininess as well. It's a really good beer, but I do think you would get a little bit more out of this just aging it a wee bit and letting it mellow out. That's just my instinct. But yeah, the backbone of the beer. Well, what's your first instinct for flavour before I go into all of that?
Yeah, well, one thing I wasn't getting it all from the aroma, but when I tasted it, I immediately got was kind of a coffee flavor.
Coffee?
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from because it's not anything.
It's got a wee bit of aromaticity at the back of the palate, so I can see that, yeah.
I guess it's the back palate, yeah. Aromaticity?
Yeah.
The back palate flavor and the bitterness together maybe, but it has a kind of a sweet kind of roasty quality, which I didn't get from the aroma at all, but I'm getting now from the flavor.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the middle of your palate, the backbone of the beer, brown bready, rye bready bread crust, a little bit of wood.
Yeah, wood, yeah.
Always that little bit of cracker. I always get a wee bit of wood and cracker in these beers. But then, yeah, you can feel a layer of like a sweet, oily rye bread. The bready base of this beer is pretty much all wholemeal brown bread. There is a slight layer of like a white bread above that. But then, yeah, you've got toasty brown sugar in there, a little bit drier, of course. Then you've got that oily, caramelly note to it, which is the booze. And it feels, you know, with West Coast IPAs in America, they quite often like to use grape sugar. So within, I'm getting a little bit of flavour of this one, like within the malt base, within the brown sugar, there's this little bit of like a grapey, figgy sort of thing mixing in with the brown sugar. So in the dead centre of your palate, you have this oily bubble there, or this oily circle, and that's the boozy side of the beer. But like I say, it has this little bit of a grape flavour that just comes out into the aftertaste. So yeah, there's a wee bit of biscuit there, there is a little bit of that fudgy note that I was picking out in the aroma, but it's not overly.
Maybe the fudgy note combined, as you're saying, combined with the booziness is kind of where I'm getting coffee from, perhaps.
Yeah, the booziness. The more you drink of this one, the booziness is quite apparent. But as I say, I think this beer, if you aged it another 6 months or something, I think you just get more sweetness out of it. So you can feel the booze on this one a little bit more than you might later on down the line. Yeah. But still, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. This is me just trying to figure out what's. It's not a criticism of the beer. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. Is there anything else to say about the middle of the palate in this beer? On the back there, your palate, you're getting all these bready notes that we talked about. The yeasty side of this one, it's the yeasty side of this beer for me. It's a little bit more brown bready at its core, a little bit white bready around the edge, and then more grainy and bread crusty. So yeah, the yeasty character lingers into the aftertaste with this one. Hoppy side of the beer, earthy in the back corners of your palate as you move further forward, a little bit woody. You can feel a little bit of pine resin in there, so I wouldn't be surprised if Chinook is in here. Chinook is the one that's going to give you the pine resin, but it's also quite spicy. I get a little bit of spice.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder about Columbus. Columbus is the one that will give you the big spicy notes there. And round the front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and a bit more grassy and sort of zesty. So, yeah, the way that goes together is quite nice in this one. The green component is quite classic, old school American sea hop for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, fruity side of the beer then. What do you think about the fruits?
I mean, you mentioned already, but like it's a green grape kind of flavor, and big.
Yeah.
Very good.
And for me, at the back of that front third of your palate, especially into aftertaste, grapefruit, quite a pungent grapefruit. And as you come further forward from that, there is a little bit of the plummy, sultanity, figgy type note. Then into the front half of that front third of your palate, it's blackcurrant and blackberry.
Blackberry.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting, I would say. But the grapefruit gives you quite a bit of a strong citrusy note, along with the pine resin into the aftertaste. That's really what makes me think Chinook and Columbus in this one.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Chinook and Columbus with a bit of Cascade in this one, in all honesty. Feels quite old school, this one.
What would you say the IBU is? The more I drink, the more bitterness is coming in.
Yeah.
It really is quite bitter.
Yeah. Anything else you want to see more about the flavour?
I'm good.
Good. Right. Let's talk about that then, because that's mouthfeel. This is my OCD or whatever the hell I have coming into this.
I got it. You're right.
It's good. So yeah, mouthfeel this one. For me, bottom end of full bodied, crisp carbonation, quite clean again. But the IBU, this is 90 or 100 IBUs. This is really pushing. I'm
that's
pretty
why.
sure.
Okay, that's why. It's okay.
This is Chinook and Columbus are going to give you that. They're going to give you that big hit. That's what you get.
Early hopping.
Earlier this one, yeah. This beer is bitter as fuck, basically.
It's bitter.
So
The more you drink, it builds up. It's really bitter.
Yeah, for sure. You've got that nice little bit of floral aromaticity, a bit of grassiness in there. Of course, 90 IBUs, 90 or 100 IBUs. The malt base a bit drier underneath, smoother in the middle. Then you've got that oily sweetness on top, and just an oily fruitiness. But yeah, the bitterness really lingers into the aftertaste, and you get more of the graininess. Our food just arrived. So, anything else you want to say about this one?
I'm good.
Yeah. Right. Show you the food in just a second.
Yeah.
This was the number 14 Joshua Norton 90-minute Bastard 2024, an American Strong Ale at 10.4% ABV. I think this is the first Japanese brewed American Strong Ale I've ever had.
Me too. Absolutely, me too.
It's pretty cool. We've got one more beer to review, and that is at the very dark end of the spectrum. We'll show you the food, and then we'll get on to that. Catch you guys in just a second. Cheers. Alright guys, well, one of the not so secret places in craft beer base is this room over here, which is their cellar. So before you go in, you have to turn the light on and then open the safe door, and in you come, and they've got all these wonderful things here. So yeah, you have a bunch of lambic beers. You've got your Rodenbachs here, your different Tilkins, Oder Häuser, Servicia, some Oder Biersil as well, Creek Boon, Le Chouf, a few wildflower things over here. I forget what brewery that was, right enough. But yeah, some things from Bellwoods and Burdock here, Canadian breweries. Then you've got your Revision, Fremont, Jackie O's. Oh, there's something from Breakeriet there in Sweden. North Coast Brewing, the barrel-aged Rasputin down here. Virginia beer as well. What's that one? Beechwood Blendery. Old Primeval from Bellwoods. That one kind of caught my eye, I have to admit. Carl Strauss Brewing, Silva Brewing, Hudson Valley. Some really good stuff here. If you come over to the other side, you've got some of your more classic Belgians. Golden Draak, Triple Carmeliet, some Cantillon Häuser, De Ranke as well, very good brewery. Saison Dupont, Character Rouge from Rodenbach, some more, De Glazen Toren, very good brewery. I've had one or two of their things before as well. Westmalle, Malheur as well. I've not really had anything from those guys. But yeah, then you've got some Eclipse in there, which is always very interesting. Duchesse de Bourgogne, Orval, Yamabushi from Shiga Kogan. Then Barber as well, some New Belgium stuff as well. I've not seen any of this for a long time. Then yeah, some Himitsu things down here, and a few others. I think these are just kind of extra bottles, if you like, on the bottom shelf here. But yeah, really great selection in this little cubby hole, if you like, this nice little cellar. And if you look out the window here, there you can see Mr. Jordan admiring what they've got on sale as well. So let's go back outside. Alright then, so let's have a little look at the craft beer base merchandise. So yeah, they've got a few glasses and things like that down here. You can get your tulip glass, your pint glass, your little small one as well, which is great. You can get a couple of caps here, which I don't think are actually craft beer base. But yeah, they've got this shirt, the lavender and chamomile one, then this guy here as well, and some kind of tote bags and stuff down here. So just a very small selection of merchandise, but yeah, you can get it, which is good. Some floral notes, some grassy notes. Maybe it's a little bit of Williamette, or what's the other one? Galena is quite popular in these American style Russian imperial stouts, if you can call them that. But yeah, you've got a little bit of prune, a little bit of plum, date, fig, blackcurrant, blackberry. The way this one goes together, I think, is really, really nice. So it's a big, big thumbs up from me. Yeah, all in all, a really, really nice smelling beer, this one. Yeah, everything you'd expect from the Russian Imperial Stout. I think it is about time that we have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. So this one is the Piotr Piat, if I've pronounced that correctly. Remember my Russian lessons at university. Peter the First, if you want to put it into English. A 10% Russian Imperial Stout, our last beer here at craft beer base Mothertree in Umeda, Osaka. Let's get stuck in. Slange, Skål, cheers, Kampai. So yeah, as I remember it from the bottle, it's just a really, really nicely done RIS. It gives you everything you'd want. You've got the lovely, smooth, kind of silky malt base. You have the chocolatey flavours. You've got the brown sugar, a little bit of fruit, and the hoppy side of things. It's just a beautiful, beautiful style, beautiful beer, this one. So big, big thumbs up to craft beer base for this. They've done a really solid job with it. Not surprised, because like I say, their beers seem to get better every time. But yeah, this one, it does taste a little bit smoother than the bottled version, right enough. And that's not a criticism, it's just an observation. But yeah, great, great Imperial Stout, this one. So yeah, try this if you get the chance. They sell the bottles, they're just in the fridge right over there. So yeah. That is good. Let's just break this beer down then and describe it for you a little bit more in depth. So, backbone of the beer. You've got that lovely roasty, toasty, well-fired bread crusty character there. Further forward on the middle third of your palate, you get that little bit of woodiness. Then you get a kind of rye bready bread crust, sitting on top of that. There's a wee bit of Jacob's cream cracker in there, which is really nice. And then yeah, you get that nice oily rye bready character, wholemeal brown bread above that, and then yeah, there's a little bit of kind of cakey character coming out above that. So let's have a wee look there. So yeah, the Riley now, so above the kind of rye bready and wholemeal brown bready character, you start to get this like toasty cake edge to the beer, which is kind of like that bit of cake that sticks to the edge of the baking tray. But yeah, you have this really dense chocolate brownie type note to it. It's got a little bit of an almost phenolic character to it. Then above that, you start to get a lighter kind of chocolate sponge. And the next layer above all of that is the actual like chocolate part of the beer. So remember that sweeter flavours come out further forward in your palate, more dry and bitter flavours come out further back. So you're getting this at the back of that middle third of your palate, you're getting a sort of 70-80% cocoa chocolate coming out of the beer. and then further forward you're getting maybe a 40-50% cocoa chocolate coming out of it. Above the chocolatey layer you start to get the brown sugar, so there's that more roasty, well-fired brown sugar. You've got a circle in the middle of your palate there, which is a more leathery brown sugar, and then yeah, the dead centre of your tongue is a wee bit more like treacle molasses type thing with a wee bit of toasty brown sugar as well. You do get some nuttiness coming out of the cakey layers into the aftertaste with this beer, but all in all, the way that it goes together is really, really nice. So I'd say it gets a big thumbs up for me on the malty side of things. The back third of the palate, the yeasty side of this beer, let's have a wee look at that. This does actually sweeten up as well, the more that you drink of it, but the yeasty side of this beer, for me, it's a little bit more, the yeasty side of this one has a little bit more rye bread at its core, a wholemeal brown bread around the edge, and then a well-fired kind of bread crusty character coming out of it. So yeah, definitely back third of your palate, the flavour is taller. Then as you move further forward into the middle third of your palate, it condenses down a little bit, which is great. And yeah, the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, nice little bit earthy. As you move further forward, it's a little bit more herbal. And then yeah, as you come further and further forward, it's more sort of floral and aromatic. And you've got that more grassy, zesty sort of thing coming out of this one too, which is really quite nice actually. I do like that about the hoppy side of this beer. But let's look at the fruity side of things then. Front third of your palate, obviously you've got the bread crust, the rye bread, the wholemeal brown bread, and the chocolate spongy notes there. Then you get that nice oily bubble where the fruity esters roll their way out of the beer. So let's have a wee look at the fruity side of things then. So yeah, fruity side of the beer for me, in that border region between front third and middle third of your palate, you do get a little bit of that phenolic-y, cough syrupy, medicinal type thing coming out of this one. So that's definitely in there. But yeah, as I say, the way that that goes together is quite nice. You do get on the fruity oily bubble, there's a little bit of plum on top. You do get a wee bit of the drier prune underneath. There's a little bit of date in there, fig of course, blackcurrant, blackberry, and the fruits do get drier into the aftertaste too, because the roasty toasty bitterness that this beer has does actually build the further into the aftertaste that you go. So that's a really interesting point to be made about this particular beer. So yeah, proper old school RIS this one, and I'm really, really happy with it. Let's round off then with a wee quick look at the mouthfeel. For me, this beer is bottom end of full bodied, carbonation is quite smooth, but it does have a little bit of a prickle to it, and the beer itself is quite smooth but also quite dry actually. The bitterness in this beer I think is about 70, 80 IBUs, something like that. You have got a little bit of that roasty toasty character from the malt, definitely. A little bit of it from the hop as well. But yeah, 70, 80 IBUs I think is about right for this one. The malty side of the beer, roasty toasty underneath, smoother in the middle, and a kind of dry sweetness on top. Then yeah, you've got that nice little bit of fruity character coming out of it as well. But all in all, a really, really nice RIS this one. Really cool to try it on tap, having already tried the bottle. And I think this is a nice way to sign off of our time here at Craft Beer Based Mothertree in Osaka. So let's leave it at that for this one. This was the Piotr Piat, Peter the First, a Russian Imperial Stout at 10% ABV. From Craft Beer Base. So yeah, that concludes our beer reviews. I'll go outside and I'll tell you my final thoughts and a little bit about our experience here, and we'll round off the video there, but I'll catch you guys in just a second. Cheers. I just noticed as well that they had some of their awards and new releases and stuff like that here. So yeah, tells you a little bit about the brewery and gives you that perspective here too. Then down here, there's some posters and things, which is quite nice. Some of the new release beers, the Hefeweizen, the Japanese mint lager, the Alt beer as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah, a few things here. They've got some of the magazines and the Osaka craft beer maps and things, some of their awards, and yeah, pretty cool actually. A nice little array of things here on the wall just behind me where I was sitting reviewing, so there you go. Alright guys, so just to give you another perspective of the bar, you see all the tanks, you come up from this end, kitchen, it's very nice. Another menu here, and that's that. So this is where we've been filming for the evening, so yeah, all done. Alright guys, well that is the end of my time then here at craft beer based Mothertree in Oyoda, Umeda, Osaka, if I've got that right, hopefully. But yeah, I had a really nice couple of hours here in fact. It was really cool to see Jordan again and do some more beer filming with him. He's a big ball of enthusiasm for that sort of stuff, and I had a great time making more videos with him of course. But yeah, when it comes to the beer, I was really impressed with the quality. We got to try the German Pilsner, which I thought was very good. Then we had the Nomcraft Alt beer collaboration, which again I thought was very authentic. When it comes to those German beers, I really want authenticity out of them, and Mothertree craft beer base really delivered on that. The two IPAs were great as well. We had the West Coast IPA with the Styrian Dragon hops, which were great actually. It's a hop you don't really see all that often generally, but to find that in Japan is pretty rare. And the New England Hazy IPA was great too. The American Strong Ale was also very, very nice. And then we finished off with the Imperial Stout, which I've reviewed on the channel before. But yeah, for the food and all of the beers in total, it was like 9,500 yen, which is maybe about £47.50, something like that, maybe 52, 53 euros, $56, $57 American, something like that. I'm just kind of guessing at this point. I will admit that I am a little bit buzzed after the last two beers, particularly the American Strong Ale and the Russian Imperial Stout. But yeah, had a great time here at Craft Beer Based Mothertree, one of my kind of go-tos when I'm here in Osaka. So I really would recommend that you come and check these guys out, and if you get the chance to meet Ai-san, the owner, she's really nice as well, and will show you around and things like that. So yeah, hopefully we can organise an interview with her at some point in the future. She was here tonight but quite busy with clients and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe in the future we can do a Meet the Brewery with her. But yeah, highly recommend that you check out Craft Beer Based Mothertree here in Osaka. Great selection of Japanese craft beers. Their own stuff is getting better every time I visit, and they've always got some very interesting American, Australian and Canadian things on the fridge too. So yeah, that's that for this video. I hope you enjoyed this out and about, and we will be back with more at some point. Some more in Osaka, some in other places in Japan, and we'll see what we can do further afield from that. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Check out my social media, check out Craft Beer Base's social media, and there will be more out and about videos very, very soon. Until the next time, Slange, Skål, cheers, Kampai, and I'll catch you guys again very, very shortly. Slange, just now.